Get up. It's game day. Everybody, boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another beautiful, beautiful weekend of college football where I get to talk to you guys with some coffee in the morning on a Saturday, talking all things college football. And can you believe it? It is week 4. September's almost over. Like, one more week, and it's October, which, by the way, is my favorite month of the year. But it's amazing how fast time is flying and how fast the season is flying. But I think what's really exciting about this week is I always put the list together on what games I think are intriguing to my eyes and which games I want to talk about. And the list this week, it was too long. It was too long. I had to cut it down a couple games to stay within my 30-minute time frame. So that tells you all you need to know, that there is a lot of good games this weekend. And we're getting into the conference matchups. Like, we're finally starting to get out of those 40-point favorite games. I mean, there still is a few of those this weekend, but a lot of teams this week are playing their first conference matchup, and for me that's exciting because we like the non-conference matchups. We like things like that. We like the excitement that week 1 brought us. But at the end of the day, we want to see these good teams play good teams. We want to start weeding through who's actually good, who's got some learning curves, who's going to make playoffs. Like, we want to start seeing stuff on film that matters, not watching somebody blow out Houston Christian University, shout out Nebraska, for 50 points. Like that, there's nothing on that film that shows you anything. So this week, we're starting to get into some of the goods. And like I said, October's right around the corner, which means that we are officially going to be in the thick of things for college football conference matchups and kind of how everybody's starting to look. Because here we are in week 4. There's already some things that we can call out on. Maybe this team's really good, and maybe this team's really bad, or maybe this team's not as good as we thought they were. The South Florida stuff. And I still think South Florida's a good ball team, but Miami, I mean, they proved some dominance there. So, without rambling on too much more, I'm excited to get into week 4. I think we have a lot of really good matchups. We have a lot of special matchups that I'm going to talk about here in a second. But week 4 is here. Let's do at least my favorite segment, hopefully some of y'all's favorite segment. I'm talking about coffee, no coffee.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
So, first cup of coffee that needs to go out. And I say this, it feels like every year. College football overtime rules. Rule, right? They're awesome. Georgia and Tennessee was every bit of the hype that we wanted it. It was so good. It couldn't end in regulation. Had to go to overtime. Great, great game. I was pulling for Tennessee, but it doesn't diminish the fact, as a football fan, overtime rules, just mano-y-mano, slugging it out in the red zone. I think they're awesome. We're going to see a lot more overtime games this year, and getting that first of chef's kiss, if you will, of a great game between two conference opponents, I think was super awesome. So, college football, not conference, overtime rules. They're awesome. Beat the NFL every day of the week. You guys, enjoy that cup of coffee. That is all yours. Next cup of coffee that I want to bring up is non-conference rivalry games. We had some taste of them. We had the Cy-Hawk game. And then this last week, We had the backyard brawl. But today we really get an awesome slate. And I hate conference realignment, but I'm also glad that like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I think a lot of football fans, myself included, were worried about the protected sacred rivalry games. And to see these teams still continue to reschedule. The backyard brawl, Pitt in West Virginia. If you don't know what the backyard brawl is it's an awesome rivalry game. It's like good old fashioned hate, which is another rivalry game, by the way. But Pitt and West Virginia just going after each other, throwing haymakers, coming down to the wire. Awesome game. I think those rivalry games need to happen. Oklahoma State, please get on board. Like I love our last Bedlam trophy, but rivalries need to stay in the game. So, rivalry games for non-conference opponents that used to be conference opponents. This cup of coffee is for you. Enjoy it because I am certainly going to enjoy these games as many times as they get played. And lastly, I don't know if you saw the news this week. Transfer portal is what it is, right? It's a new wave. It's a free agency in college football, but I think the NCAA did the right thing here, and they're moving to one transfer portal window, and that is after the season, right? In that December window, because it used to be two. You had the one after the season, which is that December January area. Then you had one after spring ball, which I just thought was terrible because you had coaches that maybe brought in transfers or did something in before spring ball. Spring ball happens, and all of a sudden, a guy that says, "I'm not going to make the depth chart. I'm not going to be where I want to be." They didn't want to put the work in. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, call it what it is. I'm second string. I think I should be first string. Well, I say put the damn work in. But that transfer window is gone. Once you commit to the spring semester, you are with that football team through the entire next season. That doesn't matter if you're third string, second string, first string, fifth string on the practice squad. You transfer in January, or if you're on that team already, however it may be, you are with that team through spring ball, through fall camp, and through the entire season. And I think that's how it should be. There's the Wild West of college football, and where I think I like to see it slowly. We're building some walls and some barriers. If we can't have this free for all, and that spring window transfer portal was just brutal for everybody. So I don't do this often. This cup's for you, NCAA. This cup of Joe's for you. Thank you. One transfer window is perfect. Once you're with the team for spring ball, you should stay with that team through the rest of the season. So enjoy that cup of coffee, NCAA, because I doubt you get another one from me for a long, long time. But this one's for you guys. Enjoy it. All right. That's all the coffee I'm going to hand out. I don't have too much coffee to take away from previous weeks, but there's two that I think it's worth calling out. I'm not ready to hit the panic button on them yet, but there's two offenses that that are struggling, and one of them, my heart is really in it for them, and that's the K-State. K-State Wildcats and Avery Johnson came into this season with so much hype. Like before 0 week, I had K-State to compete in the Big 12. I had K-State winning the Big 12, if I'm being quite frank with you. That's, of course, until I saw them play Iowa State, and I picked Iowa State. But I thought K-State was really good. Much like I thought Oklahoma State was going to be really good last year. K-State returned a whole bunch of starters, a whole bunch of them, including a running quarterback that can absolutely murder you with his legs. But right now, K-State is 1-3, right? Because they played 0 week. 1-3. Lost the Army. They could spiral here badly. They could spiral. But my biggest thing is I'm not taking away coffee from the K-State team as a whole. It's more the coaching staff. They're trying to make Avery Johnson this passing guru. He's not. Let's just call it what it is. Avery Johnson is not a passing quarterback. Can he hit some throws? Obviously. But if you want K-State to win, what you go and do is you watch the game film from 2019 Oklahoma Sooners with Jalen Hurts, right? Put the ball in his hands, let him run the ball. You're going to win some games. Like that OU team, Jalen Hurts in college especially, he was not a passing quarterback. That team made the playoffs, and he was third in the Heisman voting. Avery Johnson is not a passing quarterback. Put the ball in his hands, let him run. K-State, offensive coordinator, if you guys don't want to spiral, make that happen. But in the meantime, you got to put this coffee down. Go back to work. Do what the offense is meant to do, right? Last cup of coffee, and again, this is where I'm not going to panic. The Texas offense cannot figure things out yet. Arch Manning, again, came in with a ton of hype. But again, I say it's not just Arch Manning. It's that entire offense. For 2 weeks in a row now, Texas was favored by over 40 points. Texas has not scored 40 points yet, and they were playing cupcakes, right? I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if we're trying to overcomplicate things or they're running the same offense. I don't know. I do know this. They have the skill set. They have the athletes. Arch Manning's good with his feet. He's also good with his legs. They got to figure some things out. So, again, not hitting the panic button yet. I think Texas will figure it out. But right now, if I'm a Texas Longhorn fan, which thank God I'm not, I would be a little worried. Like, you've got to be able to score points because you're about to enter conference play in an SEC where the defense is a lot tougher than UTSA, right? Got to be able to score points to win a football game. So again, this is going to another offensive coordinator. Those guys in Texas, you have the talent, you have a good quarterback. Put the work in. But this week, this coffee's not for you. You've had 3 weeks and you have not delivered. You have not figured it out. No coffee for you this week. But I'm hoping that changes. I think them and K-State can be great teams, but they don't get them some coaching things figured out. It could be a very long season for both K-State and Texas. So, that's all said and done. Let's get into the juice of the weekend. So, again, as always, here's the preview of these games. Just in case you want to fast forward, because I know there's a lot of people that don't even make it this far into the video. But preview. I have Wyoming at Colorado. I have Texas Tech at Utah. I have SMU at TCU. I have Oregon State at Oregon. Washington at Washington State. Illinois at Indiana. Auburn at Oklahoma. Michigan and Nebraska. Purdue at Notre Dame. And Tulsa at Oklahoma State, which is on a Friday night, which means y'all will be watching this after that game's already finished. Boy, reading that list, that's a lot to get through. So let's just see if we can do it. Let's just see if we can get through this in my 30-minute window. First game that I will talk about is Wyoming at Colorado because, like I said before, my heart beats orange and black, but I was born brown and gold, and I thought Wyoming looked decent enough against Utah, right? And Colorado, it's just not catching good breaks, right? It's kind of a setup game for both teams to lose, right? Wyoming wins. It's a nice little springboard to get into what is now the new Mountain West. Colorado wins. They are a Power 4 team. It'll springboard them into their season. But I say this again, Wyoming remains a very gritty team. And if you've been watching Colorado, what's hit them the most is they turn the ball over. They turn the ball over, and that's what's cost them some pretty, I don't want to say important games, but it's cost them wins, right? They got to hang on to the football. Colorado, like I said, is a Power 4 team. They have more athletes. Here's why I draw the line in the sand. I don't know if having more athletes means that you are a more talented team than the University of Wyoming, or at least the margin is not as wide as it could be, right? Wyoming is 13.5-point underdogs. And I got to say this with rivalry in my heart this week. When Wyoming goes in that state that's called Colorado, a state that all native Wyoming people hate, don't ever doubt the Cowboys from Merriman, Wyoming. I don't know if they can win, but I was raised brown and gold, 13.5 points. I like those odds. I'll take that money every day of the week. Let's see if it happens. Next game, I have Texas Tech at Utah. Kind of a nice little segue from the Wyoming-Utah game. This one intrigues me because this is Utah's kind of biggest test in its first conference matchup of the season. Utah has looked like world beaters, right? They beat the brakes off everybody they came to. I said, Wyoming played decent, but they still lost by 20-something points. Utah covered that spread. They look dangerous. But Tech has been flying under the radar a little bit. They are just as explosive as Utah. The quarterback, Morton, has already tossed 11 TDs in these first 3 games. They're moving the ball. They're winning games by 20, 30 points. Again, games they should be winning. But they just beat the brakes off Oregon State, which I think is, a comparable team in terms of athletes, not talent. Tech is good offensively. I think they're very good. Which leads me to say, if this was in Lubbock, Texas, man, the Red Raiders could have a really, really good chance here. But I think when you go to the mountains, you get that higher elevation, and you got to go face Utah in Utah. I think the Utes, they get a tough win here. I think they get a tough, gritty win. I don't think they're blowing out Tech, but I think Utah gets this win and kind of gets them on another trajectory into the Big 12 conference. Let's see how the rest of it plays out. But I do like Utah over Texas Tech this weekend. Now let's get into some fun stuff. I already mentioned in Coffee No Coffee, I love rivalry games. They need to stay in college football no matter what happens in conference realignment. And we have a whole batch of them that I think they're going to be awesome because the Pac 12, I know it's dead / reborn. It had great rivalries. It did. And we also have some old school rivalries that are resurfacing. And the first one I think to bring up today is SMU at TCU. This is the battle for Dallas, right? As I like to call it. But if you're from the area, it's for the Iron Skillet. The Iron Skillet Trophy. Now, when I was doing research on the game, there's 2 stories on the Iron Skillet and on why they play for an Iron Skillet. One of them is very boring. They said these 2 teams agreed to play for a trophy or some boring. Boo. So here's a story I'm going to tell you. Why SMU and TCU play for an Iron Skillet, as the story is told, is a TCU fan was walking into the game in 1948 and witnessed an SMU fan cooking some frog legs in a skillet. Obviously, the TCU fan's offended. He's upset. They're the Horned Frogs. Why you eating them frogs? So he told the SMU fan, I think whoever wins the game should get the ownership of the skillet and them frog legs. Now, SMU won that game, and ever since then, it's been the battle for the skillet. I think it's a fascinating story, and if you hear it from me, that story is facts, straight facts. Great story. But they played with Iron Skillet. They first met in 1915. They have played 103 times since then. TCU leads the series 53 to 43, but they're coming off a loss last year. Remember how good SMU was? Here's the difference. TCU's been blowing teams out. It's at home, right? They're at TCU, and SMU doesn't have the talent they had last year. I think those Skillet and them frog legs, they go back to the horny frogs, right? TCU wins the game against SMU. Next game coming up, Civil War, Oregon State at Oregon. Here's another cool thing I found out today. They play for the Platypus Trophy, which is awesome. Hopefully, I can find a picture and put it on here. It's not the official trophy, but it's awarded to the Alumni Association of either school that wins. Awesome. Hopefully, it's a great picture. That's all I'm really going to say, because this game isn't going to be close. Oregon State is going to get blown out. This game is in Autzen. I've been to Autzen. It's very loud. Oregon covers the spread of 34.5 points. Ducks win the Civil War. Next one in the old Pac-12 is Washington at Washington State. The Apple Cup, which was first played in 1900 on the dot. There's been 116 meetings since then. Washington leads the series 76 to 34. Fairly lopsided. The Cougars, they stole the last meeting a year ago, right, when the Washington got the win. I think the Cougars are hungry for more. Not gonna lie, I've not watched either team very much, but I'm going with my guts here. Cougars are hungry for more. Games in Pullman, Washington. The fans want it. The Cougs want it. Old Crimson at game day wants it. Cougars beat the Huskies in today's Apple Cup matchup. Next one, which is we're starting to veer out of rivalries into some meaningful games. I think could be the sneaky game of the weekend. I'm talking about Illinois at Indiana. This is where I think game day should have been, right? We have two ranked teams. In fact, this is the highest that Illinois has been ranked. They're at number 9 right now since Dick Butkus played in 1964. In Indiana, they're not a football school. They're not used to this bright lights either. Like, they have these two schools ranked, and I didn't check this in my history, but maybe somebody else can check it for me. It could be one of the very few meetings these teams meet where both teams are ranked. And that's exciting to me as a college football fan. Fan aside, looking at game tape, both teams have to replace a lot of talent. We know what Indiana was last year, but we also know Indiana played a soft schedule, in my opinion. Illinois, they're always going to be well coached, right? I think Brett Bielema is a hell of a good coach. I think he does really good with Illinois. Even in Illinois' bad years, they get a sneaky win somewhere. Both teams have the opportunity to throw their weight around this conference in the Big Ten. And this game is going to set the tone for which team does that. Is it going to be Indiana? It's going to be Illinois. I don't think either team wins the conference, but this sets the tone on how much they can throw their weight around and maybe try to sneak into the playoffs. Long story short, I already told you, I like Brent Bielema. I think he's a great coach. I think they get the win when they go over to Indiana. I like the Fighting Illini over the Indiana Hoosiers on today's matchup. Next one, we're getting close to the end, guys. Still looking fairly good on time. Auburn, Oklahoma. I only bring this up because I listen to 107.7 The Franchise every day, and that's the flagship station for OU. And I hate OU, but I have to talk about this game. It's the revenge game. Jackson Arnold was the OU quarterback last year and sucked. It was awesome. OU's offense was miserable. So he leaves. He transfers over to Auburn, knowing full well Auburn has to come to Norman, Oklahoma this year, this Saturday, and they have to go play. Jackson Arnold has to come back and go play his former team. Here's the downside. Jackson Arnold has talent, but Mateer and the crew at OU, and it breaks my heart to say this, after that Michigan win, they look good. I'm not going to BS with you. OU looked good offensively during that win. I knew what they were defensively, but offensively looked like a solid offense, right? We don't know how good Michigan is, right? But we do know this. They shut Michigan down, offensively looked good, and then they went to Temple in Philadelphia and took care of business there. This is a springboard that OU needs. Their first conference game needs to be a win. OU needs this win. But like I said, I hate OU, and I will refuse to ever acknowledge and pick them in a game. But it could be a very tough day for Jackson Arnold and the Auburn Tigers. That's all I'll say about that. Next one. It's for all my homies, Michigan and Nebraska. I think is also one of the top tier games of the weekend. This is either Nebraska's launching point or it's Michigan's rebound after that OU loss. Bryce Underwood, the Michigan quarterback, he came into this season with tons of hype, but nobody's seen him, touch the football yet. So he has a lot to live up to, but he has a lot of learning to do still. Dylan Raiola, he also came in with hype, but he's now had a year to learn the offense, to get those college football jitters out. Like, he's had that. He's learned the ropes. It looks like he's about ready to perform and maybe take off, right? Like I said, it's going to be tough, but here's how I'm going to play it, right? Nebraska has not played anybody since they barely got by Cincinnati week 1. Michigan has been battle tested. They've been battle tested and defeated. I think that's inspiration. And I know my friends are big go big red fans. And this is in Lincoln, Nebraska. But I think that battle tested toughness comes into effect today. I feel it just on a whim. Wouldn't surprise me if Nebraska won, but I got Big Blue to go into Lincoln, Nebraska, with a little bit of revenge in their hearts, and get that win. Apologize to all my Husker friends, but I think they lose today. Last two, obviously, Purdue, Notre Dame. I spent the week talking myself off a cliff. Notre Dame season's not done yet. They lost by 3 points to, I think, a really good Miami team. They lost by a point, and I'm still pissed off about it, to the Aggies. We're just going to ignore that. Here's what I know. Marcus Freeman, he's taking over the defense. He was a defensive coach. Got to fix it there. I know Purdue is not a good football team, This should be a no contest. Forget that heartbreaker last week. Move on. Beat Purdue. Have a good win. We got to be perfect the rest of the season with any hopes of the playoffs. And lastly, and I'll keep it short because I know I'm short on time. Tulsa at Oklahoma State is Friday. I will already have seen this game by the time this video posts. All I'm asking, keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't do too much. Tulsa's a game you should win. Keep everybody healthy. We have a big game next weekend against Baylor. Get this win. Be sharp. Show some effort. Show me something, honestly, at this point. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Get the win here, Oklahoma State. Shouldn't have any problems. And with that said, with 30 seconds to spare, whole slew of games. Covered a bunch. It's going to be a great weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I will. So as always, go Pokes. Go Irish. Have a great game day, everybody.